All right, welcome to the Iron Shop and Iron Show. I'm your man, Big Jack. This is where we prove we are stronger together. That if each one would reach one, we can all grow and glow. But we know this is the last Wednesday of the month, and that means it's the battle of the sexes. And I am so glad to be here with you. One, I'm glad to be here with you because I did have a little health scare the last couple of weeks, but we're going to get that straight, and I'll tell you about that at a later time. But it's also because we had a wonderful letter sent in from some parents, concerned parents, and the panel that we have today is going to help us walk through some of the things that they might have went through when they were parents, and at the same time, or where they are parents, but back in those times when they had that school age type child. But then at the same time, things that will maybe help these parents get over their situation, or at least gain some insight on how to handle it. I want to thank you all again for tuning in to the Iron Sharpening Iron Show and the Battle of the Sexes. And I want to bring our special guests up on the stage. So give me 1 second to get them up here, and here we go. Let's get them up. Oh, there they are. Everybody's up on the stage. Hey, how y'all doing?
Hey, everybody.
All good.
So it's like, what's that? What was that show? Hollywood
Squares.
Yeah,
Hollywood Squares.
pretty much would work too. Hollywood Squares. So I'm gonna move some people around. Let's get some people moved around, and let me so I can see y'all. And there we go. So that better? That's better for me. All right. So welcome to the Battle of the Sexes. And I got Miss Angelina, I got Kiki, and I got Christine on the women's side. And then we got E. Lewis over there, Keith Mercer, and Doug Rome on the men's side. And today, panelists, we got a letter from some concerned parents, and I want to read you the letter. And then when I read you the letter, we're going to break it down. I got some questions for you, and then we maybe some facts and figures, and we really want to deep dive into this, and we want you to be honest. I mean, be honest. Sometimes he says mic is off, he can't hear. So Keith, can you hear me? So making sure it's your mic, not my mic. So. But we'll work on that technical difficulties going on with Keith right now, so we'll get that straight. But with that being said, I want to read the letter to you, and then from there we'll get some insight from each and every one of you on your opinions, and if it's okay to share some of your experiences, if you've been through it, if you was that, or if you went through that as a parent, you went there as a child, or as a student, or you had a friend that went through it. It's okay to share because of the fact that we're trying to, one, help these parents that wrote the letter, and then at the same time get some insight for those who are out there. Because I do believe we are stronger together, that if each one would just reach one, we can all grow, and glow. So let's get it on. So here come the letter. Everybody good?
Yes.
Can everybody hear me?
All good.
I think Mercer's still having issues. So I don't know, he's still having issues, but we'll get him straight. So let me break it down. So it just says real quick. It says, "Dear Battle of the Sexes panel, we're reaching out to you, not just as viewers of the show, but as parents who are trying to navigate a situation that has honestly shaken us. We have a 15-year-old son. He's a good kid, respectful, does well in school, and for most part stays out of trouble. He's while we just recently discovered or caught us completely off guard. We found a text message on his phone showing that he was arranging to buy a vape device at school. He said the message clearly discussed money and the plan to get it. When we confronted him about it, instead of owning up on it, he denied everything and stuck to the lie, even when we showed him all the information that we had. And that was where we struggled the most. Of course, we're concerned about the vaping itself, the health risk and the influences and the environment. But even deeper than that, we're hurt. Even deeper than that, we're hurt and confused by the dishonesty. We gave him a chance to tell the truth, and he chose not to. Now we're asking ourselves, are we being too hard on him? Are we not being hard enough? Is this a typical teenage behavior, or is this something we need to address more seriously right now? As parents, we want to guide him, not push him away. We want to discipline him and not break his spirit. We want to teach him accountability, but also keep that line of trust open. We also recognize that sometimes hearing different perspectives, especially from both men and women, can help us see things that we might be missing. So we're coming to you. How should we handle this situation in a way that corrects the behavior but also builds character? What consequences are appropriate here? And how we rebuild honesty with a teenager who chose to lie even when confronted with the truth? We love our son deeply and we believe in the young man he can become. We just want him to do the right thing. Thank you for taking your time to hear our story, and we're looking forward to hearing your guidance. Sincerely, concerned parents. Boom. Okay, there we are. And I
Mm.
see Keith. Let me get him back up on stage. Can you hear me now, Keith?
Yes, I can hear you. I went back to my phone. I couldn't.
Okay,
My mic wouldn't
it's
come
all
on.
good. It's all good. So let me move you. All right. Was you able to hear the letter at all?
The end of it.
Okay, all right. So, all right. So let me break it down for you just real quick. So it's a set of parents who caught through text message. So that was their son setting up a transaction to buy a vape in school. So he was going through the process. They confronted him with the text message. They confronted him with all the information they had, and he opted to stay with the lie, saying it wasn't. He didn't do anything. Was he don't have anything. Not and they're concerned because of the dishonesty, but then the seriousness of the what he's getting himself into. So they're asking
Yes.
for our help. They're asking for our help.
Okay.
So to me, when I first saw this, I'm gonna be straight up with y'all. I'm like, come on, y'all, yeah, this is weak. This a weak parents, or are we being too soft on these kids, or what's going
Yeah.
on? Because I remember back in the day for me, but it's been a while, and I do have a teenage son. So,
Yes.
that's where I need your help too because I'm like, huh. So I have a couple of questions for y'all. So yeah, I heard the story.
Yeah.
Everybody heard the story. Everybody good on the story?
Yep.
Yes.
All right. And am I the only one that's thinking weak parents? I mean, and I know.
There's a little nuance there.
Okay. All right.
Well, no, you're not. That's not weak parents. I'll give you an example because I'm actually in the schools and in middle schools and high schools, and that's actually a big thing right now.
Mhm.
That's actually a big thing on a couple of sides. Number one, it's a big thing because students are actually doing this, and even like in the school I'm in, they had a really sophisticated process too of what they was doing, and then half of it too was bullying. That's a part of bullying now too. If you're not in the in crowd, then you need to do this for the bully, and selling vapes, and that was something that the bully was actually doing. So that's like a new age bullying, something that we didn't even go through. No, this is, especially in the schools out here, I know that is a big deal.
Okay. No, I appreciate your perspective on that because sometimes we don't know because you didn't experience. I mean, when I was coming through school, if you caught someone smoking in the bathroom, a cigarette in the bathroom or whatever, that was like like
Yeah,
a no, and that's real.
yeah,
So here it's still smoking, but it's like it's almost like it's not real because the
yeah,
flavors that they put out there is like with the bubble gum and watermelon and strawberry and this and that. So to the kids, it's not real. It's like it's just candy,
yes,
and it's a $25 pop of candy because I did look that up. How much does a vape cost? And one of them I saw was $25. So you're looking at a kid that is a teenager, may not have $25 or whatever. Where do you get the money to get the vape? I know it's illegal. I did look that up. It's illegal for a kid to under 18 to actually buy a vape from people. So
Oh,
now,
your mic's cutting out.
I'm like,
Yeah.
all right, so under 18, it's illegal to buy it. So with that being said, how are they getting it at 15? So that's another thing that we have.
So I want to make sure I heard you because your mic is kind of low. But I want to go back to the question that you asked about the parents being weak. First of all, anybody that is a parent, we didn't come with instruction manuals about how to raise kids. So please, I am not being judgmental, but I think that we have a responsibility as parents to discipline our child. But we also have to know who our children are. That's not the first time that he lied, first and foremost, because most of the time, no matter what age your children are, if they feel comfortable enough, they'll come and talk to you, regardless if they're ready to feel the backlash of what's going on. In regards to that, so I'm not calling the parents weak, but I think that they have to have take on ownership or responsibility of saying that they are the parent and they must parent their child. If it's illegal, you got to address it, but first of all, you got to address the lying. And 9 times out of 10, the child already learned lying from the parent. Because I know we learned lying from our parent when the bill collectors were calling and we said that you're not at home. And I'm using that to be facetious, but that's where we learned our style to be like, oh, we know if we get in trouble, we want to hide the truth. So in regards to that, and then you talked about children, how they pay for stuff. Kids will find ways to pay for anything, just like adults. We will find ways to get what we want when we want. That's bottom line. Sometimes they'll go to grandparents, and now our grandparents are 40 years old, so they just give it to them. They're no longer the 80-year-old grandparents or whatever, but kids will find whatever they do. They will borrow, they'll make their hustle just to be able to have some experience in that.
Okay. All right. No, very good points. Now, can you hear me now? Am I?
Yeah, you're good. You're good.
All right. So
Yes.
thank you. Thank you for letting me know that I was coming in low. So with that being said, and I see you got, very good perspectives. I mean, really, I know lying was second nature when I was that age at 15 years old. I mean, it don't even have to be 15 years old. You 6 years old, you told a story, hey, whatever. And we can call them little types of lies, big lies or whatever. But
Right.
if I open my mouth, it was a lie, So so I understand that. So here's a question though: when a teenager is caught vaping in school, is it a bigger issue? Is the bigger issue the act itself, or the fact that he lied when he was confronted? So it didn't say in the letter that he was caught. It was just saying that he was going through the process and they caught it. I don't believe that this was the first time because they had the way the transaction was going down. But at the same time, I think where the parents was coming at is they confronted him with all the facts that they had, and he still, stood his ground on it's not, it didn't happen. So is it the vaping itself? So if any one of you had your kid in this situation, are you okay with them being experimental as long as they, be honest with you about it? So I'm just asking as parents.
For me, no, I'm not. I'm not okay with them being experimental, and I'm so far removed from this. I've tried drugs myself, back in the day when I was young. But no, I'm not okay with the experimenting. But I'm more disappointed with the lying. I'm more disappointed because of this. It would seem to me like they don't trust me. They wouldn't. The lines of communication have been blurred or something. And that's the number one thing with children, in my opinion, is that we want to be able to keep those lines of communication open and that child can come and talk to us about anything. We know that's not going to always happen, but we do want them to feel comfortable talking to us. But to me, the lying part is the worst part, but it's not unexpected. I mean, this is there's so many layers to this thing because there's so much going on with these children nowadays. A lot more than when I was younger, and that's been a while. But there's so much more. I try to understand and I do a lot of mentoring. So I'm in the classrooms. I'm in these meeting rooms with these, especially young men. So I know some of the challenges they're up to. They're under attack by so many different things for their minds. It's so much deeper than just some kid vaping. But yeah, the lying part would be the most disappointing and discouraging part, that they felt like they had to lie to me as their parent, someone that they knows love them, right? For one, they should know that, but that to me, that's a little more disappointing.
Yeah, that's a really good point too, along with Keith's perspective that there's bullying and things going on. Like if the parents presented all of the facts with the kid and the kid is still blatantly lying, I get really curious. Like, who are they protecting? Or are they trying to protect themselves? You know, and like I was raised, I couldn't lie to my dad. Like he could just look at me and be like, Christine, tell me the truth. And okay, daddy, I did. But and he always said like he was a fair judge, and if you would tell the truth right out the gate, he would go a lot easier on you. So, and he proved that over the years. So by the time I was 15, you know, it was all, the groove and the record was already set. So yeah, like that disappointment word, I'm leaning towards curious. Like I'm really curious what is going on that you feel the need to lie when we're showing you all of this stuff right here. So yeah, I do think that there's a bigger picture that needs to be recognized there. And vaping, I was very against vaping with my kid growing up because there's nicotine in it and there's chemicals that go straight into the lungs. And I just to be honest, I was okay with weed and I was not okay with vaping.
Right. Wow.
So, but that was also that a communication in that relationship. And I was a single mom. Like, you come to me, you be honest. And when there was that leeway with the weed, when it came to cocaine or LSD, then it was an open discussion. Let's look at it. Let's research it. What are the side effects? What can go wrong? If you get caught, what happens? We did all that research together and decided, no, it's not worth the risk. And so I was teaching calculated risk along with experimentation, because the kid's gonna experiment. And if we say, no, you can't do it, you can't do anything, and then we're blocking off that line of communication because they feel like they can't come to us and trust our reaction.
Oh, no, thank you. Angela, it looked like you had something on your mind.
I do. When I was, I work in child welfare. So I work with children that do get caught vaping and other things, but it is normative adolescent risk taking. I mean, it can be experimental, it could be social, it could be curiosity driving that behavior. I mean, there's influences of peers and their groups. And a lot of it for our kids that I work with is just belonging, because they feel already abandoned, or they have attachment disruptions, so they just want to belong, and so they're going to do anything they can to fit in. And if that includes vaping, well, they're going to do it. And it could be something else. Like Christina said, I mean, they're going to do it. And I mean, I've raised 3 kids and they're all young adults now, but they're not going to tell you everything. It doesn't matter how good your communication is or what your discipline style is. They're not going to tell you everything. And it's a parent's job to equip them with the knowledge and the understanding of what's out there, the outcomes of it if they do get caught. And also be there just to catch them when they fall, because we all know as parents, they're going to fall. They're going to need us.
Yeah, no, that's a very good point that you're making. They're not going to tell you everything. You already know that. But I think a lot of times what concerns a lot of newer parents or parents right now that's dealing with this is the consequences have changed the way they were when I was in school in the 80s and things like that, where, it used to be, 1, 2, 3 strikes you're out. Now there's one strike. And that could be it. And that's where, it gets scarier because the consequences are that much more. And that's, I think, you know, where a lot of people run into that right there. But very good points that you all made. And Doug, I didn't hear from you, so I'm gonna drop it on you. So what's going on with you, sir?
So, I think this negative can definitely be turned more towards the positive, to first establish that communication rapport with your child and just let them know that we've all been there and done that and made mistakes. But, when you be in those situations, we'd rather you be upfront and tell us what's going on as opposed to lying to us and then trying all these other things and then eventually try something that's could be an ultimate bad choice. But it's really, really scary. Where I live, vape shops are everywhere. And there's even one, I don't know how I got zoned that way, that's not even probably 500 yards from a high school, right? And it just seems like the proximity of it. And I mean, you'll see cartridges on the ground and things like that, but it's just everywhere. But the parents definitely have that chance to talk with their child, let them know you can tell us anything. We're going to be here for you. Like you said, when they crash and burn or something like that, you're going to be there to help them. But also just, care for them as best you can. Because like, what are you going to do? You're going to take away their phone. You're going to make them go outside and play. I mean, like, what are you going to do as a repercussion of that? So
yeah.
Now it's funny you said that, Doug, because in the chat someone says, "Do we make them like suck on a vape like we used to do back in the day? Make you smoke a pack of cigarettes and get it out your system?" So what is the consequence?
Themselves, Lord Jesus.
Right.
So but like you said, it probably tastes so much better nowadays, right?
Yeah.
And with that popcorn lung and everything, those chemicals and everything are going straight into your lungs. At least with a cigarette, at least you might puff and just blow it kind of out. And I know that the vape may come out through your nose. I don't know, but
yeah,
it's like it's candy. It's crazy.
And the thing is, I'm saying I've seen kids do it, adults do it, or whatever. I've seen people at work do it, and they know they shouldn't be doing it inside either. But at the same time, they make it look kind of cool. I mean, all the smoke coming up out of them, and it's like, is it like having fun over there? So I can see where getting turned on as far as a kid seeing that, like, oh, I want to be like that, When I first seen a person blow smoke rings when I was younger, I'm like, well, that's like the coolest person out there. So I can only imagine. So here's a question for you. Now, are fathers more leaning towards discipline where mothers lean toward understanding? So I'm asking for now. So, but I heard all of y'all say y'all want to get a better understanding. So that threw my little question off with, because I'm like, no one was like just come down on this person. Everybody was more getting a better understanding. So is it a man thing where it's all about the discipline, where the women want understanding, or is it vice versa? What?
It depends on the couple.
There it is.
Yeah.
Say that again, Christine.
Wait a minute. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Christine, say what? Say first.
It depends on the couple. I know both. I know couples where the mother is extreme disciplinarian and the father is extremely lenient. It depends on the couple. Yeah. Let's just hope there's one of each.
Okay, now I can respect that. So, and Kiki, you gave yourself a point. You said it was you.
Yeah, I just think it really depends on. First of all, I don't know if the conversation has been had. Like we always have. I mean, in our generation, our talk was just more so about doing drugs. This is your brain on drugs, and you had the fried eggs, or you talked about postponing sexual involvement. Those were the conversations that were had in the household. So if it did occur, we got in trouble. So the question is, I don't know about these parents. Have they talked to their son about vaping? Do they even know about vaping? And then that really determines who's going to be the disciplinarian in that whole thing. I know for me, I'm the disciplinarian because I know I have those type of conversations, and her father was just like, well, let's just try to figure this out. Now, I don't have time to figure this out because I've already talked to you about the consequences. And now if something happens to you, guess what? It comes back on me. Now there's more money going out the house. And then the lion is what takes me over the edge. So I, like Christine said, it's really about what the situation is and how the parents are wired.
That's good. And I want to add to that, because one of the things I had to realize is that I had to get over this illusion of control. I never had control. I thought I did, never had control of my children. They've always made choices. And I can remember one incident with my daughter. She came home. Well, I talked to her on the phone. She said, "Dad, you're gonna be mad at me because of something I did." And I said, "Okay. You already knew I was gonna be mad at you. You did it anyway, so that's it." So you know what I'm saying? So we have to realize, I had to realize early on that, look, man, you don't have control of these kids. Just try, when it comes to this vaping thing, and not just the vaping, it's a lot of different challenges out there for kids. If we as parents can do our research and kind of get out in front of it, know the dangers of it, and talk to the child about that, and if they still make the decisions that they make to do that, then they have to deal with the consequences. It's not easy for us as parents. We don't want them to make the wrong choices, but they have to suffer the consequences sometimes. Because I know I didn't make all the right choices, and I made bad decisions and had to suffer the consequences. But I don't want to be a helicopter parent. Never wanted to be that, a helicopter parent. I never wanted to be a parent that enabled. So there's somewhere in the middle. And that always took me to where I wanted to have that line of communication open and knowing that they're not going to always make the right choice.
Absolutely. I think, part of that is communication and confidence. I mean, I know for me personally, I was the one, I've never done a drug still today.
Good for you.
I was able to have that discipline to say no because I knew the effects of it, A, and B, I didn't want to face my dad. So I think that education at such a young age on confidence, remember, a lot of kids do these things and try these things because A, they don't have confidence. They're not able to lead themselves. They're looking for outside influences um, to belong to be a part of. All we can do as parents is educate them on and give them options. Then the choice is up to them, and hopefully they'll make the right decisions. But it comes down to confidence and how can we help them grow their personal agencies, because as soon as we can get them confident, then they can move on to the next stage of life. But it comes down to confidence. And one of the things I tell my daughter, listen, no is a whole sentence. No is not up for discussion, right? Being able to just say no and move on. And that's how I approach it with a lot of the kids that's in my school. I know, man, I have kids walking around with an empty vape just to be cool.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? But we still got to educate them and try to develop those personal agencies, that confidence before the bullying get in, before the peer pressure kind of kicks in. We want to be able to give them options.
And look, and keep those are good points that you made. And Angela, go ahead. I see your hand.
Yeah, I kind of want to piggyback off of what Keith is implying here because there is an underlining meaning behind the behavior. So vaping is just a symptom to something that is needing to be met. So Keith mentioned confidence, but it could be like some of the common things that kids vape for is because they're seeking to regulate their nervous system, or like Keith mentioned, like peer belonging. Maybe they're looking for some type of control in their life, or even escaping some of the things that, emotional pain or triggers or something like that. So there's an underlining meaning behind the vape. So it's not like, why are you vaping, but more of a, what need is this behavior meeting? What is this trying to tell us? And so just kind of listening to everybody speak, a lot of what I'm hearing is the relationship between parent and child is what's important. So if you have a relationship, you're going to be able to communicate with each other, to a degree, but education is a big part of that. So not only as a parent, be educated, but also being able to educate your child in that manner of what they're doing and things like that. But it's normal for them to be curious. So allowing your kids to be curious, but as a parent, set the boundaries, because you can do that. That's where you have the control. You can set those boundaries and make them very clear in, where the limits are. So I know Christine mentioned I was okay with marijuana, but I wasn't okay with vaping. So like but it gave them an opportunity to talk about other things as they started to be introduced to those situations.
No, no, all very good points, and I appreciate all of your insights on that. My question was, or is right now, did just say no helped you when you in that age bracket, and just say no was the motto? Did it help
Mhm.
you? Now,
Not at all.
But
Keith said he
but
stayed away.
back then there was what, ABC, CBS, NBC, and then
Right.
Channel 20 or something like that.
Mhm.
So whatever commercials were out there, public service, you pretty much saw it. Now there's so many different avenues for it. The kids are never going to see it really, unless it's posters in the school or something like that.
Mm.
But I guess it was a little still scary. And a little bit later, like with Len Bias,
Yeah.
his first time, and all of a sudden he dies cardiac arrest. So from where we grew up in PG County, we definitely saw
Yeah.
too many people that were on the
Mhm.
negative side of trying something, far
Yeah.
too many times.
No.
Allegedly, Doug, allegedly.
Allegedly.
Yeah, I know another version of that.
I know.
No,
Mm.
and if those who don't know who Len Bias was, he definitely came out of PG County High School. He was during our time in school. I remember being at a track meet when they announced that he had died. He was a Maryland
Yeah.
University basketball player who got drafted by the Boston Celtics and went up to sign
Yes.
his contract with the Boston Celtics and celebrating with some friends, and he died that night. Allegedly
Mhm.
from the first time ever using drugs, but we're not going to go all into that. But
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
is a
No
Len
doubt.
Bias story. And
Yeah.
that's what these parents are concerned with, because does it get worse? Do it go
Yes.
to the next level? Now, here's the thing: that child was not texting by himself. So, as a parent, do you reach out to the other child on the other end, or the parent to the other child? Because there's a transaction happening on his phone. So,
We
you're
don't
the
do
parent. What do we do?
we don't do the same things
Well,
that
I
we
think
did back in the day.
I
Let's
think
be clear.
Wait a
you
minute,
have
wait a
to.
minute. Keith, hold up. Let me see. Go ahead, Miss Kiki, and I'm gonna come to you, Keith.
Oh,
Okay.
I'm just saying we don't do the same things that we did back in the day. You asked about the drug. Just say no. I think my say no was my father or my mama finding out. My household was guided by the disciplinarians of my parents. In that factor, I was scared of them. I mean, but when I got an adult, I just think it was just that you kind of test the waters. But then when you start to see people going cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, you be like, I gotta leave this alone in that space. So I'm gonna say my parents were my just say no.
Mm.
My parents was to just say no. But going back to calling, we don't even check to see who our children are with. I will say my child used to get mad at me when I'm like, well, you're going to a party. Let me talk to the parent.
Right.
They don't
Mhm.
do that anymore. I know I know my daughter's almost 30, but even when she was 18, like, who are you riding with? Why don't I have
Mhm.
their phone number? Now we're just letting kids be with whomever, and we don't even know. We can't even remember what shirt they had on, even though we may have changed it in the bathroom, but we still knew what they left me home with. But now some parents, and I'm not saying all, they're not taking accountability of parenting.
Too many parents.
Yeah, and really taking responsibility and say, I have to look out for my child. Don't you want to know where your child is? Because anything can happen. It could be a situation that transpired, and you be like, I don't know who my child was with. That's ridiculous to me. That's for me.
Yeah.
But my
I,
kid is 30, so
and Kiki, I want to say something because you mentioned that, and the way you said it was, do y'all remember the TV? It's 10 o'clock. Do you know where your kids are?
Oh
do you
yeah.
know where your
Yeah.
kids are?
Yeah.
Or the more we
TV
had
actually went off, didn't it?
here, what did we have? We had the more you know, the more you know, the more you grow, or this is your brain on drugs. We had things to always keep us in remembrance of what not to do. Especially the crack epidemic. I remember when we sat and watched President Reagan talk about the crack epidemic, and I'm like, what? But my parents made us watch that type of stuff. So
Mm, okay, all right. Angelia, you got something up there?
Well, I think too, like for me, I growing up, I just that whole this is your brain, with the egg, and then this is your brain on drugs. Like that scared me as a child growing up, and I was like, I do not want to fry my brain at all. So I didn't. I was very, but I also grew up in a home where there was harsh discipline too. So I didn't want to face that either. Um, Not to say that I didn't sneak around it, and as long as I didn't get caught, there was
Amen.
there was no punishment. So I mean, you parenting and punishment, discipline, like there is a finesse to it because too much of it can teach them how to be sneaky, how to get away with things. If I don't get caught, then you don't know, and all those things. So I think it really is. My concern is the lying because that could be a red flag. That could be a red flag in it leading into something more problematic, whether that's addiction or something mental health or something like that. So I mean, just increasing structure and supervision, I think that helps guide some of that. But staying connected, even if the child is trying to push the parents away, staying connected, and the messaging behind it needs to be, I'm worried about you. Like I'm not worried about the vaping. I'm worried about what's going on with you. Let's talk.
No, I love that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
And it takes a
Now,
lot of time and energy to stay
Mhm.
connected and to build that
Yes.
structure. And it's and you work all day and you got to run the other kids to the sports. And I mean, it's a lot. I raised one and it was a lot. I can't imagine 2, 3, 4 kids. Like, what? How are you doing that? It's just you got to make priorities and invest in your kids.
Yeah.
okay, so now they're dealing with a 15-year-old. So what's the cutoff? When is we gotta let them be a grown up or let them grow and all. So I know we'd say we got to have that conversation. They're going to be experimental. They're going to do this. I don't like the lying. Matter of fact, that even came up in the comment. And my man Walt Talks is out there. Aqua Funk, we thank you. Sharon Jackson and Denise Jackson, thank you for welcoming me back. Thank you. I am glad to be here on the show. And those, Miss Patty, and thank you for those who are watching and supporting. But what is the cutoff? What is the cutoff? Is 15 too much? Or I mean, when I look, Big Jack wasn't no little Jack when it was 15 either. So you're not gonna just run up on me. so so you can talk all that discipline, but I was 230 at 15. So I'm just letting you know
Wow.
right now. So and it was a walking muscle. So how do you combat that as a parent? I mean, I
Not at
respect my mom.
15.
I
Not at
respect my mom.
15. At 3. You start that at 2 and 3 years old.
Okay.
You put the fear of God in them at 2. Like my kid knew, like I was just a little touch crazy. Just a little touch. Like just enough
Not a
to be
touch.
scary. Just enough to be scary.
Absolutely.
If I had more than one, I might have had to be worse.
You know what was crazy for me as a kid? I was more scared of my coaches than anything else. I was scared of disappointing them, so that I couldn't start a basketball game, or I couldn't play baseball, or I couldn't go to practice or something like that, and then had to deal with the parents after that. So I was always scared about the repercussions of doing anything,
That's
not being
interesting.
able to do what I love to do. And that's where maybe you have to think about, taking away some of the things that they enjoy doing, just to continue that conversation or start conversation about things, so that way you don't find out later.
When I got
And
to
that
this
just
age,
shows it takes a village, right?
but when I got to this age, that 15, 14, 15, that was my punishment. My mom be like, you can't go to the game. And that was I would hand her belts and anything else, whoop me, get it over with so I can go to the game.
Yeah, exactly.
Do that, get it over with. But yeah, so that was her go-to. So I mean, that's great if you got an athlete or someone has something, but a lot of times, and what I see with some of the kids I even see, they don't care. It's like you can't take nothing from me because oh well. Take my phone, I go to my tablet. Take my tablet, I go to this. I mean, they take computers to school. So they're going to get the access. What are you going to do? I mean, so maybe I'm wrong. Help me out, somebody in here. I know somebody got an answer for me on that. Angelique, go ahead. I see it.
Yeah, so I'm just gonna say it really boils down to the relationship you have with your child, because your relationship is what gives you the influence over what they do. The more you talk, and Christine said it. I mean, you start at the age of 2 and 3. You build that connection with them, and you stay consistent, because sometimes it's easy to go, okay, this time I'm going to let it slide, but then it becomes more problematic. And then you're like, oh no, now I've got to do something about it. No, you need to stay consistent through it all. And again, just being clear about what's acceptable in your home and what's not acceptable, and then giving the why behind it, because I like to know why. I know our kids like to know why, not just the I said so.
Oh, you didn't grow up in my house. My house.
Oh, I probably did. I probably did. Yeah.
Why? I wish I would say why.
I know that's right.
I have my mouth washed out with soap when I question. So,
Oh, gotcha.
So now, because of the discipline, did it meet the charge, and that why sometimes kids won't confess because of the fact that we were a little too hard? And like, dang, all I said was no and why, and I got tore up. So I know I ain't gonna tell you I vaped or did anything else. So what about that as parents? Was that a you know I know the fear of God, but would that cause me to tell a lie? Yes, I 100%. I would lie about it. So
I guess it could go the other way. But I think I want to go back to something Kiki said a little earlier. Like when kids are lying, they learned it from somewhere. They learned it. They learned it from somewhere. What are we modeling for these kids? Not just that do as I say, not as I do. That does not work. We got to get past that. That doesn't work. So there's so much. There's so much to this. Like I had to stop saying these kids are bad. These kids are bad. No, a lot of times it's the parenting is bad. A lot of times the parenting is like Christine said. I think that was Christine about you have to pay attention to your kids. You have to pay attention. You can't, if we working 2 jobs to make ends meet, guess what? We need to move somewhere else where we can afford it, where it's more affordable or something. Because the kids are worth it. We see the challenges the kids have right now. But at the same time, us as parents, we're in unfamiliar territory too. These kids, they have the internet, all this social media stuff, these different challenges that they face in school, trying to fit in. All of us wanted to fit in. Nobody wants to be the outsider. And sometimes that's where it goes. Okay, we got to smoke a little weed because I'm with this group. If not, they're going to dog me out. They're not going to want me to be part of the group. Maybe it turns into vaping. And gateway drug, that's a real thing. Some kids start off with the weed. They start off with the pills. They start off with the cigarettes. Then they go, next thing you know, they're doing cocaine. They're doing, but the parenting, like I said, we do have to model that behavior. They're watching us, and we just got to hope and pray for the best.
Now, and thank you on that, Eric. And I know Miss Kiki made the comment, we do not come with instruction manual on how to be a parent. So that makes it a little tough too. Here's a question though. Do we or have we over the years set it up for kids to make the mistakes or go the route that they go? Because I remember when marijuana was illegal and all I kept hearing from everybody is how it should be legal. And it's just natural, grows in the ground and all the stuff that we can say about it to say why we should be able to do it. And now it is legal. And so we push that direction. We made it, so what's wrong with it? They sell it in the store. Why can't I have it? They sell alcohol in the store. They sell cigarettes in the store. So what makes it wrong, parents, that just because I got it at 15 instead of waiting until I was 18?
Why do you want it so bad?
And that goes to, I've heard that there's a behind the scenes. There's something else that might make me get to that point. But at the same time,
I think it's about maturity. I mean, I'm not trying to be funny. I mean, the level of maturity for individual or children, young adults, to actually handle it. I can't say that it's wrong. I can't say that it's right. I've just heard from being educated about what vaping can do, and that's even for to adults as well. But I think even with people that are able to get alcohol, some people don't need to have alcohol, so I think it's about the maturity of the young person. How I think it goes back to Angelina about what it why do you need to have this? Why are you desiring this? Is it to be part of the cool kid club, or is it because you are suffering from mental illness that you are chasing after this, because you want to have some
Relief.
drown out things in your mind? Because we also have to be realistic about that. I think all of us growing up, we've dealt with mental illnesses, some more prevalent than other, but we were always told to keep it down, ain't nothing wrong with you. We didn't go to the doctor. But now mental illness is on the rise with our young adults because of things that are happening socially. They are now socially awkward because they don't learn how to communicate. So I think a lot of things that are surrounding our young adults or young kids, it has to do with the lack of things that we were surrounded with. We had our neighbors discipline us. Miss Mary next door, she saw you do that, and then she came to get you, then you got in trouble at home. So I think the lack of community, not for everybody, but the lack of community has diminished. We don't have a community anymore. It's like you go, you handle your kids, don't take care of mine, but let my mama do it. She'd be like, girl, I'm gonna get your kid and then I'm gonna get mine.
I like that, Kiki, because it isn't just a me problem; it is a we problem. Like we're in the schools, it's happening. It's happening with our young kids. So I like that.
Very good points. Now here's one for you. Now we getting on this kid for vaping, and I know a lot of you say you work in the schools, you're working with kids, you've seen this and all, but they send kids now to school with probably 3 or 4 different types of medication to get through the day. But yet you're getting on me for vaping. I got this to slow me down, this to speed me up, this to calm me, this and that. So are we already setting them up for failure just by the medication that we're providing? And I know that's a doctor thing. I know we talk about mental illness, we're talking about a lot of these things. But Angelina, you made a very good point, and I'm glad that you hit that. There's some there's some hidden secrets or hidden issues going on that we're not addressing, and we're addressing them in different ways. And I know, Keith, in the schools, there's no way that you're not seeing that I would say they're not pill heads. They're just taking prescribed medication, but it's to get them through the day. And what are we creating? And that's the parent thing. And I know they didn't write that in the letter. I just want to throw that out there because it is real, just as real as everything else. So go ahead, anyone.
Well, I got a
I mean,
comment, but
that starts at home. I think one of the things that Kiki said, I totally agree with. We are at a point now to where parents think that, and they are allowing the schools to raise their kids. No, it starts at home before school. And we as parents know, like when you talked about the just say no to drugs, I get that, but we need to give them something to say yes to. We need to model some things. We need to help them at an early age develop some coping skills, develop some of these personal agencies so they're able to cope. We have to give them some options, whether that's, extracurricular activities. And, for us, it was at the church. But we got to give them options. We can't just say to them, well, okay, pills, let's just do pills, or, let's just do weed. No. How can we give them options? Because remember, we only have them until they're 18? So our job as a parent is to prepare them for this world. And that's those hard conversations. And even as a male African American dad, I had to look in the mirror and dial back some of the things that we dealt with, as opposed to like my voice. Those are some of the things we got to give them some coping skills to be able to adjust. I had a coach that always said the great ones adjust. We can't allow our kids to just accept, hey, this is just the thing to do. No, I know this is wrong, so these are my options. I can move forward in a positive way. And I had parents that role modeled it for me. I mean, that's important because kids watching. We don't think they're watching, they're watching, right? And they're actually smarter than we was at this age. You know what I mean? So we just got to get to know your kids. I know my daughter's behavior, whether they had a good day or bad day. Get to know your kids and stop letting someone else raise them. You know what I mean? Raise your kids.
Kiki, you said you was gonna hold off on this one, or what?
Yeah, well, my thing is, I think a lot has to do with parents and pharmaceutical companies, because you were talking about going to pills, and things of that nature. Some, I think most of the time, because we as parents don't want to deal with the real issue, we just want to allow the pharmaceutical or the doctors just to give it, just to cover it up, but not really dealing with the whole issue. So some of this is on us as parents, and some of this is just pharmaceutical companies just selling stuff, and also other agencies. And I'm just using it as an example. We don't do our due diligence to really do our research on what medicines, because you remember, I think even back in the day, we didn't take as much antibiotics. It was just like your mama said, take some ginger ale and some onion on your feet and you were healed instantaneously. But now we have these medicines that are it can make you blind for just taking whatever X, Y, and Z. You like, wait, I just cracked the nail. What is going on? And I'm being facetious in that moment, but we as parents, we have to look at the behavior and say, is this something that we can try to fix by spending more time with them? Then we can go to the doctors and pharmaceuticals, because most doctors are getting kickbacks. Let's be real about the issue. So some of this is more parent issue, but some of this is just like, oh, there's a pill for it. Let's fix it from that standpoint. Because I just can't believe that everybody has ADHD. Everybody suffers from. I can't believe everybody is suffering. I can't not believe that everyone is suffering. Yes, we're going through some things, but I think it was you more coping skills. I think he was talking about having coping skills.
Okay. Now, and I know, I mean, and I'm gonna say we off from what the letter said, because they talk about finding a text message, and their kid is, making transactions, and as they were talking with that, and I'm gonna move you over, Keith, as they were, and I'm reading the letter, I'm sitting there thinking, back when I was younger, it was like a crackhead. He's gonna be taking the VCR and the DVD next, and trying to get this $25 or whatever, because that's what they do. And I'm more afraid, because, like I say, that's where the separation comes. Because if you're lied to me about why you're doing it, when I have all the facts, I'm sitting here looking at it, and I might not know, like Angelia said, you might not know all the back details and this and that, but you do know that you was on your phone texting somebody, making a transaction to buy a vape. So we got this, and you're going to still look me dead in my face and tell me, no, that didn't happen, as if I'm ignorant. So that's the insult right there. So that, to me, as a father, that's like the biggest slap in the face. It's like, I'm sitting here looking at you, talking to you, and trying to respect you, and you're going to disrespect me right in my face. So that right there is where the line gets drawn, more than the situation itself, because it's like, if you lied to me about this when I know the facts, then you definitely lied to me if something was real, and I can't protect you. So that's where the fear comes in as a parent. I can't protect you because of the fact I can't tell if you're telling the truth or telling a lie. And like Keith said, I can point it out with my kids, but as you get older, you get better,
Absolutely.
So, and it is. So
Square up. I'm just playing.
Nah, square up. That's it. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, and that's how you standing. And when you're dealing with a 15-year-old or 16-year-old, 17-year-old, you're dealing with a young adult. I mean, in a sense, they're not, they're like I say, 1 year, they're 18, even though you might be able to cover them on your insurance till they're 26. but still, that's a kid, and that's a kid, but that's a young adult. And when they're standing in front of you, it's almost like you can touch me if you want to, but you're gonna get in more trouble if you touch me than I am for doing what I did. So it's like all the stuff that runs through your mind as a parent. And I don't want these parents who wrote in the letter, and I'm hoping we can help them, and we did help them. Um, uh, I don't want them to be discouraged in the sense of thinking that all hope is lost. It is not. I mean, the fact that you're checking phones and all of that stuff is a good thing. Like I say, that's why I asked you, would you tell the other parent? Because of the fact that he wasn't on there by himself. He wasn't texting himself. So there's a transaction. It didn't even say who was making the transaction. Their son could be the one selling the vape. So that's something else we didn't catch. So I don't know. And then that's what Keith came in with the bullying, because someone else could be having you go in there selling this stuff to the school. So it's so many different things that we don't get and we don't know. But at the same time, that's what you're trying to we're trying to get across to the people. Say, hey, it's not over. Get a better, I'll say a better relationship, but have a stronger relationship with your kid. Get to know them, as Keith say. Give them an option that you don't have to vape. It's funny that we're talking about this because I'm 55 years old, so I'm 55. But
youngster.
Yes. But I remember being on a golf course with some of my golfing buddies, and they all smoke cigars. So if they hit a birdie, they pull a cigar out and they all smoking. But they won't let me smoke because I've never smoked a cigar. And man, don't even get down there. I'm 55 years old. So I'm like, but it's like, hey, I got a birdie too. I want to, but it's like, don't, like, dude, this ain't
good friends. That's what
first
good
of all,
friends do.
you're too big for us to carry you off this course. So when that cigar get to you, so I'm like, is it that bad? And because of that, just the way they break it down to me like that, I stay away from it, and I've never tried it. So that's like I say, good friends, and I appreciate that.
So
and
you're saying I'm a bad influence on you? Is that what you're saying?
See, I didn't call nobody's name out. See, he doesn't call himself out, right?
Okay.
You just play with bad golfers that never get birdies. You don't have to worry about smoking cigars. But that's like a little tradition thing. But with that being said, was they wouldn't let me do it. So sometimes the options, like Keith said, putting your kids in situations where they're with different influences. Sometimes it's just the influences they're around. I was able to find that on the field. I was able to find like-minded people who had a desire to get to the next level. So we found ourselves doing things to get to the next level. And sometimes that's what you just need to have your kid do. I don't have all the answers, and no one on this panel has all the answers, but I want to thank you all for being here and hanging out with me. I'm going to go step by step, and I'm going to start with Angelia and go around, and y'all can give one more message before we close out, because believe it or not, we're at the hour mark. So Angelia, please give us a closing statement, and we're going to go around before I lose my voice completely. So
I would just for those parents that are listening, it's not about perfect parenting, it's about being present. Just be present, be there for your kids.
All right, Kiki.
I'm just saying, make sure that you just maintain in touch with your children. Set boundaries. I think you mentioned about checking phones. Check their phones, check their rooms, be very inquisitive, because they're not paying any bills. Nobody's doing it. You're not doing anything. So you have the right to go check that. And therefore the parameters have been set. Like, this is what's happening in my household. But stay encouraged as a person that has raised a daughter who is now 30. There's going to be good days and bad days, and days where you're just like, what did I do wrong? But the point is that the ability that they can make their own decision and come out on the other side, you did exactly what you needed to do. You never stop parenting, even with a 30-year-old. You never start. I'm 50 and my mom still parents me.
Nice.
Yeah. Christine.
Yeah, my closing statement is just man, it's tough. It's really tough. It's tough to be a parent. It's tough to be a kid. And the truth will set you free, man. I would be on that like a dog on a bone, and I would not let go of it.
Yes, right, right. Good stuff.
All right. I'm going to go with you, Dougie.
It's never too late, even to start the basic communications, even soft skills. So that way, like you said, do that discovery with your child, get to know them a lot better, let them get to know you a lot better. Just be truthful and honest with each other.
Right.
All right, I like that. Eric.
Yeah, ditto to what everybody else said. One thing I would say to the parents is give yourself some grace. You're not going to be perfect. You are going to make mistakes with your kids. You're going to have regrets that you should have did it this way, you should have did it that way, or whatever. The lines of communication, that's the key. That's the key. And I would advise that you sit down with your children and find out, let them try to consider, think about what their purpose in life is. What is your purpose in life? Why you're here for a reason. You're not just here just to take up some air and make some money and do all these kind of things and then die. That's not why you're here. We all have a purpose. Get them thinking about what their purpose is. I heard this quote, and it's so timely, it's so accurate, and it's whenever a person doesn't know or understand their purpose, abuse is inevitable. And that's abuse is inevitable. That's it.
All right, thank you. Keith, come on, sir.
Hey, I love that. I got to follow that. I just think that for the parents, understand that there is no parent book. Do the best you can. Get to know your kids. Also, get to know your kids' friends. It's very important that you know what that environment is around them at all times. Set those boundaries and stand 10 toes down. I always tell my daughters, it won't be for lack of information. Let me just say that. All I can do as a parent is guide you, give you the information, then it's up for you to make those choices. But understand choices matter. You matter. You get to develop your own value that's not on society. Let's get your confidence up. Let's get you to believe in yourself. I believe that that's our superpower. Once you believe in yourself and know who you are, no one can get into that. No one can then make you do something that you don't want to do. And then especially as a girl dad, listen, no is a complete sentence. Then you don't have to explain yourself. If I can teach you that at a young age, I think the rest of life is going to be good. I can't live your life for you. Go live your life. Find your purpose. Know that you matter. And everything else will take care of itself. Put God first.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. So we're going to get ready to close this show out. I'm going to ask you all to please hang back for a little while behind the scenes. I want to reach out to the parents as we're talking right now. So, and all of y'all said it. I want to, as a piggyback on what y'all all said. And the first example of parents we have in the scriptures was in Genesis. They had two boys and one took out the other. So you're never going to get it right. So don't get that straight. Right? so look, so I don't care who you are. There's only two, and one took out the other. So with that being said, is let you know that we're gonna grow. We're gonna make mistakes. We're gonna do as all of y'all said. So with that being said, we're gonna tell you to have a good night. We'll see you Sunday for the Gentleman's Journal. All the other shows that fall under Iron Shopping Iron Universe, we thank you. We welcome you to come and check us all out. And we thank you again, each and every one of you panelists, for being here. We hope you helped you out, you concerned parents, and that you can work with your kid and maybe move them in the right direction. But until then, we say peace. We'll talk to you later, and have a good night. Thank you.